I've been a huge fan of United States softball. I've watched the USA team over the years compete, and they've been one of the most dominant softball, college, sports in the Olympics. So tell us a little bit about James Madison and the growth of your softball team over there.
Yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves in being, hopefully being in the top 25 every year. The last 7 years, we've been to the postseason. Last year, of course, we finished 11th in the country and went to a super regional out at UCLA. Had to face Rachel Garcia, who was actually on the USA team. So that was a tough matchup. But, our girls work hard, and we're kind of that, I guess you could say, underdog gritty team, where, if people see us on the schedule, we want them to know they can't take it easy. So it's just kind of something that we talk about and trying to outwork our opponents in every facet, in the weight room, in practice, in our community, just outwork everyone. And that's kind of what we have to do at JMU to stay, on a national stage.
Now, Loren, as far as recruiting, and we ask a lot of coaches this in basketball, baseball, hockey, football, we've asked them so many times. When you go into a house and you're trying to recruit a player and you're talking to their parents and they're good students, but you're trying to sell James Madison, how do you go upon doing that?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about JMU, it is the people. We're a tight knit, not just our softball team, but the whole athletic department and the university as a whole. All the teams are really supported, not only from the people of the university, but the community. And then that's a big thing. We're from a smaller area. Harrisonburg, not that big. So in our games, I mean, we're averaging, 1,000 to 1,500 people in our stadium, which is amazing, from, being a smaller town. So I would just say, the feel of it, it's just that family feel. Parents, they want to feel good when their kids are getting dropped off and feel that they know that, they have someone there. And there's a lot of people at JMU that they can rely on. And, our support staff is great. Our administrators are great. And, athletics is a big thing for our community.
I never played softball, and I did umpire softball, women's softball, guys softball, and it could get a little abrupt. And I've learned that over the years. The fans, even the players, and even when you're doing high school and you're umpiring high school kids, and they're at sixth graders and seventh graders, and the parents get. I'm very surprised how parents get in the audience and the way they yell at the umpires when they make the wrong call. What do you do when a parent is yelling at you when you're making the wrong call or taking out a pitcher because you think they're tired? What do you do? How do you react to that situation?
Honestly, I'm so laser focused on what's happening in the game. I don't even hear anybody in the stands, to be completely honest. There's been some times where we've been some places, and even at our place, where, I sent a runner home and she got out at the plate, or, I'm out on the mound talking to a pitcher and people are yelling. I don't even hear it. And I think that, that's just how you have to be as a coach, have thick skin. You can't take things personal. And umpires are the same way. I have found, especially with umpires, that, if you respect them, everybody's going to make mistakes. I mean, that's just life. And, I just don't really hear it that much. And we really don't have, parents that really do that either, which I'm fortunate. Our fans don't really yell a whole lot from the stands. I really don't talk to them much after the games as far as, if they're mad. So I kind of tune it out.
So your recruiting class this coming season, tell us a little bit about your recruiting class and the growth of your team the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with our team too, we've had a lot of local kids and regional kids that aren't too far away from different states that are big time players for us. We believe that, if we have people that are close by, when they get to play in front of their parents and their families on a regular basis, I can tell you they play a little bit harder. And it's kind of nice to have, I think we have 3 or 4, that are from the local areas. And it brings the community and all of their hometown kind of comes and watches our game. But this year, our 2020 class includes 2 pitchers, a catcher, and then 3 position players, infielders and outfielders. They really can play anywhere. So we got a good mix in our 2020 class. And, of course, we have 3 seniors returning. Odyssey, Alexander, Kate Gordon, Madison, Naokas are coming back to use their extra year of eligibility. So I'm very excited about what the year looks like.
We are talking to James Madison softball head coach Loren LaPorte. Now, Loren, I've watched college softball, and I watched the World Series, and that's the only time I get the chance to watch it, because you never get to watch it over here in New York on TV. I actually have gone to different schools when we do. We interview some of these high school kids and some of the big time prospects out here on Long Island. We go out there and we interview them. What do you look for in a pitcher? Because I don't know if you could put a curveball on a fast pitch with a softball. What do you look for? Do you look for speed? Do you look for breaking ball pitches? What do you look for a pitcher?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I think, you got to have velocity, and I think, as a coach, you have to know that there's more in them, because when they get to us, it's very different from when they're in high school and travel ball, because we have them on a weight program. They're doing softball 24/7, or that's not really what they do, coming during high school. So we're looking for velocity, and can they increase their velocity? Do they have the body type to get 3 or 4 miles an hour more on their fastballs and things like that? And of course, their movement pitches have to move. You can't have everything doing the same thing and staying at the same height. And a big thing that we're looking for that is a little bit different than in the past is changes in speed. Having 3 different speeds to keep hitters off balance. We've been fortunate, and Megan and Cece, they throw almost 70 miles an hour. But if you don't have that kind of velocity, you got to be able to keep hitters off balance and throw at different speeds. So, you have your fastball at your top speed, then, your movement pitch is more, 3 or 4 miles an hour slower, and then you have your changeup, which is about 10 miles an hour slower. So I think that's very important, especially in this day and age. The hitters, there's so much technology, and hitters have just gotten better across the board. Back in the day, I would even say, 10 years ago, it was a pitcher's game. You would see a lot of 1-0, 2-1, 3-2 ball games, and now there are a lot of runs being scored. So pitchers have had to make adjustments, and so I think those 3 things is kind of what we look for. Can they change speed? Is their movement pitches moving with the correct spin, and then what's their velocity like?
So my question for you is leadership. And as you know, in professional sports, it's all about leadership, not only from the coaching stand, but really the players, the player stand. Is there a particular player that you look for in leadership for your players in the past year?
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is, our senior class and even our junior class, we relied on those 2 classes a ton as far as, showing the underclassmen the ropes and how we do things. And I think it's good to have a mixture of different types of leadership. Like we have probably 2 girls that where we need them to tell the team something. They're going to tell it. They're kind of the voice. And then we have others that kind of lead by example. They're your kind of under the radar hard workers that's always picking up stuff after practice and doing the little things. And, I think our junior and senior class did a nice job at that. We're still trying to develop them and open them up a little bit because, the quiet ones still have to every now and then, say something and give their opinion just so they, the underclassmen know, hey, they're going to speak up when they need to speak up. But, there's different types of leadership, and we have certain things that we go to each leader or, upperclassmen about when we need something to be done.
Loren, in terms of softball, in terms of the strategy of it, there's a lot of rule differences between that and baseball with the substitutions, managerial strategy. They have designated offensive players, designated defensive players. Talk about what you use most with that kind of strategy and how you think it's maybe better or worse than baseball.
Yeah, we have the DP flex rule. The thing with us, we love pitchers that hit. We've had 3 All-Americans in our program, and 3 of them were pitchers that actually hit. And they were over 350, hitters. So we we do have pitchers that don't hit too. So when your pitchers don't hit, of course they'll be in that flex, in the 10 spot where they don't hit. But what's nice about it is if you do have a pitcher that hits, you can take someone off the bench, your best DH or pitch hitter, and you can put them in the lineup, and then put your best defensive player in the flex spot. That doesn't maybe hit all that well, but is so good on defense. You got to have her on the field. So it's nice to be able to strategize a little bit, and also if that defensive player's in the flex spot, they can also run one time for the DP. So there's a lot of different ways you can handle it, but it really depends on if your pitchers can hit or not, and how you use that substitution rule, which is much different than baseball. I absolutely love it, and it gives someone off the bench who maybe isn't your best defensive player a chance to do a lot in your lineup.
Loren, baseball is completely different than softball, but I know there's always game planning when it comes to if you're down by 2 runs and you're going into a particular inning, the 6th inning, and you have to score runs, and some of their pitchers are completely dominant in so many ways. And when I've seen a softball pitcher throw 95 miles per hour, I've seen it, and it's absolutely incredible how hard these girls throw. Do you have a game plan before that particular game if you know you're going to be facing a pitcher in that particular moment, a relief pitcher that has been a dominant pitcher all season long? Do you have a game plan against that particular pitcher?
We spend a lot of time, my associate head coach, Jen Herzig, scouting. I'd probably say we spend, holy cow, 3 to 4 hours on each team when it comes to scouting. So our girls the night before games get a huge scouting report on every single player in the lineup, every single pitcher, the catcher's arms, things like that. I wouldn't necessarily say we change our swing and we change our approach depending on the pitcher. We just have, the preparation of knowing what each pitcher is going to throw at us. So it's not like we're going to be like, okay, she's throwing harder, so we're just going to, hit the contact. It's not like that. We don't change kind of what we do. We just have a better idea of how we're going to be attacked. And I can tell you it's made a big difference, in the games, and just knowing the pitchers, because there's a lot of times when we play teams that aren't in our conference where, you might not know much about, but I can tell you our associate head coach spends a lot of time. So our players are ready. So whoever pitcher, if they're throwing someone into the 6th inning, we have a whole description of what she's going to do. So that's kind of how I wouldn't say we change what we do depending on the pitcher. We just know how we're going to be attacked.